The sky above the neutral planet Zarnes was clear, peaceful, and full of stars until something massive appeared out of nowhere. A ship, but not just any ship. It was a Terran warship. Dark, massive, and quiet. It didn't make a sound, didn't send a signal, and didn't show a flag. It just appeared in orbit, hovering like a mountain made of steel, covered in thick armor and glowing faintly from within. Inside the Galactic Union station, many species watched the screen in shock. No one had expected Earth to send a warship, not after being silent for over a decade, not after the last incident. The Union had believed humans had turned inward, isolating themselves from galactic affairs. They were wrong. Is that human? Asked Kelter, a reptilian strategist with wide yellow eyes. It is, replied Yenna, a spider-like alien who served as the Union's communications director. But it's not responding. She tapped her screen. No comms. No ID. No threat. Broadcast. Just ... nothing. The warship moved slowly, smoothly, like it didn't fear anything around it. Its hull was layered in black armor, dotted with weapon ports that glowed dim red. Its engines burned quietly behind it, controlled. Calm and cold dot around the planet. Several alien ships formed a protective ring. They were smaller, but still powerful. Some belonged to the Valari, others to the Tharn, and a few to the neutral. Mechari watched. None of them moved. None of them fired. They just watched, because the Terran warship ... was terrifying. In the war room aboard the alien station, whispers filled the air. They didn't even announce themselves. They're violating protocol. Maybe it's just a test flight. No ship that size is just testing. What do we do? They kept talking, nervous, confused. But in the center of the room, Ambassador Trin, a tall, thin alien with 3 eyes, stood silently. He stared at the warship's image, his face pale. That's no diplomatic vessel, he said. That's a frontline battleship, a Titan class. Yenna looked shocked. I thought those were never deployed. They weren't, Trin whispered. Not unless something ... serious happened. The others turned toward him. But we didn't do anything. There's no war. Trin didn't answer. Meanwhile, inside the Terran ship, the crew worked silently. No panic. No shouting. Only quiet movement. Commander Reed, a tall human with gray streaks in his short hair, sat in the command chair. His eyes stared forward, expression calm. Status? He asked. Shields up. Weapons cold. Engines steady, replied his officer. Comms? Still. Jammed, sir. Just static. We're receiving pings from the surface, but ignoring. Reed nodded once. Let them wait. The bridge was full of humans, all in black armor with glowing blue lines down their arms. No one seemed nervous. No one asked questions, because they already knew why they were here. Back on Zarnes, alien civilians came out of their homes. They looked up at the sky. Some pointed. Some ran inside. Some just stared. Their skies had never held a Terran ship before, not since the old war, for many. The stories of human rage and war had faded into legend, but legends were now flying overhead. Inside the Galactic Union Council chamber, diplomats argued. It hasn't fired a shot. Shouted one, but it hasn't said anything either. Shouted another. Maybe it's waiting for us to act first. Then don't act. We don't want war. Ambassador Trin slammed the table. You don't understand humans. The room quieted. Trin continued. When humans go silent, it means something's coming. Something serious. Suddenly, an alarm rang. Yenna turned to her console. Movement. The Terran ship, it's changing position, slowly rotating. The screen showed the warship turning, bringing its front toward the biggest alien ship in orbit. A Valari dreadnought. Still no signals. Still no words. Then, one sound changed everything. A deep, thunderous hum as the Terran ship's weapon systems lit up. Power surged across its hull. Red lights turned bright. Cannons extended from hidden bays. The air around it shimmered from the energy buildup. Coulter screamed, "It's targeting us!" "Defense shields up!" Someone yelled, but it was too late. The Terran warship opened. Fire, beams of white-hot energy, sliced through space like light through fog dot. They struck the Velari dreadnought before it could react. Shields failed instantly. Armor melted. Explosions rocked the ship. Everyone watching screamed. A few seconds later, the dreadnought broke apart, drifting debris and flame left behind. The room fell into stunned silence. No. Declaration of war. No. Demand. Just fire. Commander Reed leaned forward in his chair. His voice was quiet but cold. "Send this message to the Union," he said. "That was your warning." Asterisk. The wreckage of the Velari dreadnought still burned in space. Twisted metal floated slowly. No escape pods launched. No survivors responded. The Terran warship held position motionless, silent and cold. The galaxy had seen Earth's silence. It had seen Earth's fire dot in the Galactic Union station above Zarnis. Panic filled the control room. Why did they do that? Why didn't they warn us? Yenna's hands trembled as she stared at the hollow space where a dreadnought once hovered. They fired without a message. She whispered, "No demands, no declaration, just silence, then fire." Ambassador Trin stood behind her. He wasn't speaking. He was staring at the Terran ship. It hadn't moved since firing. It didn't follow up with more attacks. It just sat there like a giant wolf, waiting. Across the alien fleets, captains shouted orders. "Power up shields. Target that warship. Hold. Formation." But none fired, because if Earth's warship could destroy a dreadnought in one strike, then who would be next? Even the bravest captains hesitated. Their weapons were ready. Their fleets were primed, but their hearts were not. Inside the Terran warship, everything was calm. The crew moved smoothly, like machines. Commander Reed stood, hands behind his back. Eyes on the wreckage. "Status?" he asked. "Alien fleets fully locked on. But none have fired," his officer said. "Still waiting, sir." Reed nodded. "Maintain position." He walked to the central screen. "Let them think," he said. "Let them fear." On the planet below, Zarni's citizens were confused. Some ran underground, some cried, some watched the sky, wondering if they were about to die. Then, something unexpected happened. From the Terran ship, a single pod launched. It wasn't a missile. It wasn't a drone. It was a drop capsule. A fast, armored pod used by Terran soldiers. The capsule flew down like a falling star, landing just outside the alien capital's defense perimeter. Alarms rang across the city. Inside the Union station, Yenna stared in shock. "They're landing troops?" Ambassador Trin's face was pale. "It's not a full invasion. Not yet. Just one capsule. A message. Who sends a message like that? Terrans do." The capsule door hissed open. A tall human stepped out, fully armored in dark gear with blue lines glowing down his arms. He didn't hold a weapon. He didn't raise his hands. He just stood there. Waiting. ZARN is. Guards surrounded him with rifles. Aimed. One alien soldier trembled, but the human didn't flinch. He looked at them as if they were the ones in danger. Back in orbit, one alien captain finally spoke. "We should attack before more humans arrive." Another shouted back, "And die like the Velari?" Ambassador Trin's voice cut through the chaos. "Everyone hold." All eyes turned to him. "Earth didn't come for war," he said. "Not directly. They came to show us something. That they can destroy us. But they didn't wipe us out after that first strike. They're testing us. Commander Reed watched. All the movement on his screen. Multiple alien ships had locked. Weapons on his vessel. He smiled slightly. 57 ships have us targeted, his officer said. Not one has fired, Reed replied calmly. Why do you think that is? They're scared. The room went quiet again. Everyone realized this wasn't an invasion. This was a message. A line in the stars. And Earth had drawn it first. Then, for the first time since arriving, the Terran warship sent out a signal. Just a few words. No threats. No demands. Just this. You ignored our voice. Now listen to our silence. Back on Zarnes, the human soldier looked up toward the sky. More capsules began to fall slow, spaced out, controlled. But still, the warship didn't move. No guns fired. Just soldiers. Landing. Terran boots on alien soil. To conquer. To remind. Asterisk. Smoke still floated in orbit where the Valari dreadnought had died. The silence after the blast was louder than the explosion. Alien fleets kept weapons locked on the Terran warship, but no one dared fire. One shot, just one, had been enough. To prove the point. Now, more Terran drop pods were landing on Zarnes. Each one hit the ground with a thud, steel slamming into dirt. Inside the command room on the alien station, Yena's voice trembled. They're landing more troops. 10 capsules now. Still no communication. Ambassador Trin kept watching. They don't need to talk. They've already spoken. With fire. Down on Zarnes, local guards scrambled into position. Most had never seen a human in person. Now they watched as tall, armored Terran soldiers stepped calmly out of their capsules. No weapons raised. No shouting. Each one simply stood there, watching, waiting, like statues made of war. Then, without warning, one human moved forward. He walked directly toward the central command. Outpost. Alien guards shouted at him in 3 different languages. He didn't respond. Stop. Drop your gear. This is a protected zone. Still, he walked. A small alien officer, trembling, lifted his plasma weapon and fired. The blue blast hit the Terran's armor and disappeared like it struck water. The human didn't flinch, didn't stop, didn't even blink. Back on the warship, Commander Reed received the report. A shot has been fired. Zarnes guards opened fire on our operative. No damage. Reed's voice stayed steady. Begin protocol. Echo. Engage weapons. Target precision only. Disable. Don't destroy. We're here to teach. In orbit, the Terran warship moved. Slowly. Like a mountain waking up. Dozens of turrets came online across its hull. Energy pulsed, cannons glowed, and guided railguns rotated toward key targets. Shield generators. Weapon arrays. Defense towers. Airfields. Then, in perfect unison, they fired. Not to kill, but to control. Precision energy blasts lit up the planet's surface. Explosions loomed across key structures, disabling systems in seconds. A single alien fighter tried to take off. A laser strike vaporized its engine before it lifted. Towers lost power. Missile silos froze. Entire defense networks went blind. But not one civilian was harmed. Not one life lost. Yena stared at the chaos. They're not wiping us out. They're disabling us. Ambassador Trin nodded. It's a warning. Like pulling the claws from a predator without drawing blood. Another officer asked, why not just attack all out? Trin's voice was dark, because they want us alive to remember it. Down below, the human soldier reached the command outpost's main gate. He stopped. His voice echoed through a translator. Calm. Steady. This territory is under Terran observation. Aggression will be answered. No one needs to die. The alien guards didn't move. One dropped his weapon. The human raised a small data chip. He held it out like a gift. Inside the alien capital's council chamber, a message appeared on the central holoscreen. The human's face. Cold eyes. Battle-scarred armor. This is not a war. This is a consequence. You ignored our calls for peace. You silenced our diplomats. You laughed at our patience. You will not laugh again. Commander Reed stood on his bridge, eyes fixed on the alien fleet. They're still watching, his officer said. Still afraid to move. Reed nodded. Let them. Today, the galaxy learns something old, something they forgot. He turned to the rest of the crew. Humans don't bark before they bite. In space, the warship slowly rotated again, not to aim, but to show its full-size massive, monstrous and deadly calm. Across the galaxy, systems began picking up the transmission. The message spread fast, and across thousands of planets. The same phrase echoed. Earth has returned. Asterisk smoke rose from the surface of Zarnis. Not from war, but from precise fire. The Terran warship had not destroyed cities. It had not bombed civilians, but it had disabled everything that could fight back. Power. Grids. Weapon towers. Fleet command relays. All gone, but the hospital still worked. Water still ran. Homes still stood. Zarnis was not burning. It was just ... helpless. Terran drop pods continued to land 30 now. Each one slammed into the ground. With loud impact, but no chaos. Out stepped calm. Armored humans with no flags, no chants, no blood. They moved through cities like shadows silent. Controlled, efficient. No one stopped them. No one dared. In the capital. Alien citizens peeked from windows. Mothers pulled children close. Shopkeepers closed their doors. But the humans never attacked them. Instead, they helped. At one crash site, a group of alien medics were trapped beneath rubble from a damaged tower. Their own people were afraid to approach, thinking a second Terran strike might hit. But a human soldier walked up, silently. He bent down and lifted the wreckage with one arm. Alien eyes widened as he pulled out the trapped medics one by one. He didn't speak. Just nodded. And walked away. At another district, a broken water pipe flooded the street. Humans used portable barriers to stop the flow and redirected it toward an emergency line. When a child slipped into the water, a human caught him mid-fall, steady, calm, like it was normal. The mother, an insectoid alien, looked up at the soldier. Her voice shook. You saved him? The human didn't reply. He just turned back to his task. Inside the alien command tower, the officers were panicking. They're landing everywhere. They're not killing anyone, but they're taking over. Ambassador Trin stood still, watching screen after screen. No, they're not taking over. They're showing us. Showing. What? A captain asked. What real power looks like. Back in orbit, the Terran warship opened a direct channel. This time, it wasn't just a message. It was a live broadcast sent to the entire planet, and every nearby fleet. Commander Reed appeared on screen. No armor. No medals, just his uniform. He spoke simply. You ignored our envoys. You erased our names from council records. You told your people Earth was gone. But we are still here, and we remember. The image changed. It showed old footage of a Terran diplomat being thrown out of a council meeting, of Earth's peaceful colony being attacked on the outer rim, of alien leaders laughing as humans begged for inclusion. Now, those same leaders watched from behind locked doors. Their faces pale, their voices silent. On Zarnis, alien citizens looked up at hovering screens. Some cried, some trembled, but some ... understood. One alien woman, elderly and wise, looked up, and Hans whispered, they came to remind us we were wrong. In a council chamber deep beneath the city, a young officer shouted, "This is psychological warfare. This is terror." Ambassador Trin turned to him, slowly. "No, this is what restraint looks like when shown by a species that could have burned us all." Outside, human soldiers began gathering at key structures. Communication hubs, supply depots, defense bunkers. They didn't break doors. They walked in, took control, and handed a copy of Earth's charter to the staff. Every paper signed had one phrase in bold letters: "We do not conquer. We remember." And then, across the sky, more ships began to arrive. Not warships, not fighters, but Terran relief vessels, ships full of food, medical units. Portable shelters, the same hands that fired from orbit, were now rebuilding in the warship's bridge. Commander Reed stood still. His officer spoke softly. "Groundfall successful. No casualties. Entire surface is under Terran watch." Reed nodded. "Begin restoration phase." Down below, an alien child looked up at a human soldier and asked, "Why are you helping us?" The soldier kneeled. His voice was deep and kind. "Because we remember what it felt like when no one helped us." The galaxy watched in silence. Streams of footage flowed from Zarnis. Terran soldiers handing out food, fixing power grids, carrying wounded aliens to safety. It didn't match what the galaxy believed about Earth. Where were the conquerors? Where were the monsters? The truth was worse for the ones in power. Earth didn't want to rule them. Earth wanted them to remember. Inside the Galactic Union headquarters, emergency meetings were being called. Leaders from dozens of species argued on. Holographic screens. "They're taking over." "No, they're restoring order." But why would they help us after firing first? Because Earth hadn't forgotten the past. And now the past had returned with armor, strength, and perfect control. At the heart of the Terran warship, Commander Reed stood inside a secure broadcast chamber. A small silver device floated in the air, glowing softly. The room dimmed. This message wouldn't be sent just to ZARN. It would be sent to every member of the Galactic Union. A single transmission across the stars. Reed looked into the lens and began. "We offered peace. You offered silence. We asked to be heard. You turned off the channels. We sent diplomats. You erased them." Behind him, a giant holoscreen lit up. Footage of a Terran ambassador standing before the council years ago. The ambassadors of the galaxy laughed at him, then walked away. Now, those same leaders watched from bunkers and secure stations. No laughter. "Left," Reed continued. "We warned you 10 years ago. If Earth returns, it will be with open hands. But if those hands are rejected, they will return as fists." The broadcast switched to another clip. A human colony burned by raiders. Terran relief ships denied landing clearance by the Union. Footage showed humans burying their dead while the stars above stayed silent. And then the screen faded. Earth had returned, and this time the stars were listening. On Zarnis, the people stood in silence in the streets as the message played in the sky. Children held their parents, hands tighter. Storekeepers left their counters. Even soldiers dropped their weapons, because the truth wasn't just hitting them, it was crushing them. Inside the alien council chamber, Ambassador Trin watched the broadcast with his hands folded. A junior officer asked, "Are they trying to start a war?" Trin shook his head slowly. "No, this is the opposite of war. This is justice, wearing the uniform of patience." On the ground, the Terran soldiers now moved in larger formations, but never fired. They coordinated rebuilding efforts, reconnected power, and secured hospitals. Not a single alien was arrested. Not a single protest was silenced, because no one dared protest. They understood now. Earth had come not to destroy. Earth had come to remind. Reed's final words echoed across the stars. We are not here to conquer. We are not here to kneel. We are here to say, Earth was never gone. You simply chose not to see us. He looked into the lens cold, calm, and firm. Now we make sure you never forget again. The broadcast ended, and across thousands of systems, the stars went quiet. No one sent a reply, because there was nothing left to say. On Zarnis, a small alien girl tugged on her father's robe. Papa, are the humans staying? The father looked around, at the rebuilding, at the peace, at the Terran soldiers guarding, but never hurting. He nodded. Double quotes, yes, little one. I think they've come to stay, but not as rulers, as a reminder. In orbit, the Terran warship slowly turned again. Its engines powered up. Reed walked to the window, looking down on Zarnis. His officer stepped beside him. Do we leave, sir? Reed waited a long moment, then spoke softly. Not yet. They still need to understand the difference between fear and respect. The Terran warship hovered in silence above Zarnis. The stars above were quiet now. No more warnings. No more broadcasts. The galaxy had received Earth's message loud and clear. Now it waited to see what Earth would do next. On the planet's surface, something unexpected happened. The Terran soldiers began leaving. One by one, drop pods lifted back into orbit. The humans didn't shout, didn't wave flags, didn't demand anything. They simply stood down, handed control back to local leaders, and walked away. Alien commanders, stunned, watched as Earth's most feared warriors withdrew without a fight. Inside the alien command tower, Ambassador Trin turned to his staff. Mark this day, not as an invasion, but as a correction. A young officer frowned, but they could have taken over the whole system. Trin nodded. Exactly. And the fact that they DIDN single quotes T ... means everything. In orbit, Commander Reed stood on the bridge of the warship, arms behind his back. All ground teams recovered, his officer reported. 0 casualties. Minimal resistance. Civilian cooperation exceeded 80%. Reed gave a slow nod. They understand now. The officer hesitated. Do we leave Zarnis? Reed turned toward the stars outside. No, not all of us. Within hours, Terran relief stations were deployed on the surface. Hospitals, food stations, water supplies. All free. No demands. No contracts, only one request. Truth. A small sign was placed at every station. From Earth, not with conquest, but with memory. Back in the Galactic Union headquarters, silence filled the main hall. Delegates from over 50 species sat in silence. The Terran broadcast still echoed in their minds. One elder stood slowly. We erased their name from our records. Another nodded. We told the younger generation Earth was a myth. A third whispered. Now the myth has returned, and it's watching. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, something else began to happen. Worlds that once ignored Earth began opening channels, requests for talks, requests for peace. Some even offered formal apologies. One planet, long ago involved in the destruction of a Terran colony, sent a message. We thought you were gone. We see now that you were only quiet. Please, let us speak again. Back on Zarnis, alien citizens walked freely through Terran stations. No guards. No checkpoints. One alien child offered a flower to a Terran soldier. The soldier paused, then knelt and accepted it. No words were exchanged. But in that moment, the galaxy changed. Commander Reed watched the feed on his ship's screen. He smiled faintly. We didn't fire a second shot, he said quietly. His officer glanced at him. Because we didn't need to. Reed nodded. We gave them something. Stronger than war. We gave them a choice. The message Earth delivered was simple but powerful. You cannot erase what remembers you. You cannot mock what waits. You cannot ignore Earth and expect peace. And as the Terran warship slowly turned toward the edge of the system, its engines, glowing bright ... Ambassador Trin watched from the surface. They came with silence, he whispered. Then fire. And now ... They leave behind something far louder than both. Respect? The officer beside him asked .TRI and shook his head. No, he said softly. Fear wrapped in understanding. In the distance, one last Terran ship remained. Single station placed in orbit, unmoving, with one purpose. To watch ... to listen ... to remind. And across every system that once mocked Earth, that glowing Terran eye in the sky became a symbol of truth. Earth had never left, it had only been waiting. Asterisk, asterisk. The Terran warship was gone. The stars above Zarnis looked peaceful again. But no one saw them the same way, not anymore, because even in its silence, Earth had spoken louder than any empire ... And now, the galaxy remembered. On the surface, life was returning to normal, but everything felt different. Markets reopened ... Children played. Shops buzzed again. But across every wall, every square, one image remained. A Terran emblem, not forced, not burned. Inpainted by the aliens themselves. Inside the local Zarnis council chamber, Ambassador Trin stood before his people. The room was packed officers, citizens, elders. He looked tired, but calm. I was there when Earth asked to join us, he said softly. I watched them walk away when we laughed. He paused. And now, I have watched them return. A young alien stood up, nervous. Are we their colony now? Trin shook his head. No, that's what makes this more powerful. They could have taken everything, and yet they gave more than they received. They are not here to own us. They are here to remind us what we should have been. Far above, in deep space, the last Terran station kept orbit around Zarnis. Small, silent. Constant. No weapons drawn. Just a symbol Earth is watching. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, quiet changes began to spread. On a distant planet where humans were once denied food access, a monument was built in their honor. In another system where Earth's diplomats were once turned away, a human ambassador was welcomed with cheers. And in council chambers where Terran voices were once ignored, their seats were no longer empty. They were central. And respected. Back on Earth, Commander Reed stood before a large screen displaying a sklang map of the galaxy. Each star that once rejected Earth now glowed faint blue. Not conquered. Acknowledged. Behind him, an aide asked, Sir, was it worth it? All this effort just to land and leave? Reed turned slowly. Yes, he said, because they never understood us. He walked to the window, looking out over the Earth's capital thriving, strong and proud. They thought we were like them, he continued, always fighting to rule. But Earth doesn't rule. Earth remembers. And memory is more dangerous than any weapon. On Zarnis, a school teacher read from a new book, added to their curriculum. It was small, dark-covered, titled simply The Terran Way. In it, one page was marked by every student. It held just 5 words. We came in silence first. One child raised her hand. Why did the humans help us even after we were mean? The teacher smiled. Because they wanted you to learn what they already knew. And what's that? The teacher looked at the sky. That sometimes kindness wears armor. In a deep galactic meeting weeks later, a new race questioned Earth's place in the Union. A delegate scoffed. What makes humans think they deserve a seat at this table? The chamber fell silent. No one wanted to answer. until Ambassador. Trin stood up slowly and replied, because they already built the table once, and we broke it. Now they've shown us how to build it again, with steel and silence and memory. And across the galaxy, from the smallest colony to the largest capital, one thought echoed again and again. We should have listened when they asked, because when they act, there's no room left for asking. Some still feared Earth. Some respected it, but none ignored it ever again. Because now, every system remembered not the fire, not the ship, but the message. The same message that echoed in every Terran step, every controlled strike, and every quiet retreat. You erased us. From your maps, we carved ourselves into your memory.